A house filled with gloom, where a father severely beats his son, while his mother watches television, indifferent to what's happening. Memory Toka wakes up, realizing it was a nightmare, and finds himself on the school trip bus. He hears the class president, Sugo Ayaka, arguing with Oyamada Shogo because he took her novel and is bothering her. Yasu Tomohiko feels disgusted by what's happening but doesn't intervene. Oyamada tells Ayaka he'll give her the novel back if she gives him her social media details. Toka thinks to himself, everyone is bowing their heads, and the elites are laughing at what's happening. The only ones acting naturally are the Takao sisters and our indifferent teacher. If I try to stop them, I'll probably look cool, but an amateur like me won't make a difference. Toka stands up and tells Oyamada, enough. Give her the novel. Oyamada sneers and says, an amateur is finally starting a revolution. One of the elites, named Takuto, steps in and tells Oyamada, give it back. Oyamada scoffs, forget it. Let's kill time by bothering Toka, who suddenly thinks he's important. Takuto replies, I'm not interested in Toka at all. I can ignore anything you do to him, but give Sugo her book back. Oyamada returns the book, then kicks the chair Yasu is sitting on and says, even memory put in effort to do something. Why are you acting like nothing is happening? The teacher tells Oyamada, enough. It won't be funny if you drive him to suicide. Then he says to Yasu, if you're going to do it when I'm no longer your teacher. Suddenly, they are transported to another world. A woman appears and says, you are our hope to defeat evil. Welcome, heroes of the other world. I am the leader, Vicious, and I welcome you all to Alien. Every time the evil known as the Great Demon Empire rises, we summon heroes from another world. 200 years ago, evil was defeated thanks to the heroes' efforts, but after all this time, the Great Demon Empire has returned. You are the chosen heroes. Can you lend us your strength again? Tension rises among the students, and everyone struggles to grasp what's happening. Takuto asks, and if we refuse to help? She replies, you'll never return to your world. He asks, is there a way back? She says, the reverse summoning technique requires a special element called the core of the Demon King. There are two ways to obtain it. The first is by taking the Demon King's heart, and the second is by extracting the Demon King's core when he is defeated and placing it into a specific pendant's crystal. Oyamada, enraged, tells her, this all suits you, but we have nothing to do with this great demon empire. She bows before them and pleads, please, heroes, can you save our world? Sugo asks, how can we save the world when we're just ordinary humans? The leader reassures her, don't worry, each of you possesses a power that other humans don't. Sugo replies, but we have no proof of that. The leader summons one of this world's monsters and an ordinary human. The monster attacks and devours the human. She then uses a flame technique and instantly turns the monster to ashes. She brings out a magical crystal and says, it's time for you to discover the hidden abilities within you. One by one, they place their hands over the crystal to determine their magic color and level. Oyamada's magic glows red, and one of the leader's subordinates exclaims, that's the great light. Oyamada gets excited. Takuto's magic shatters the crystal, shocking everyone. The leader tells him, this means you are of the highest S rank. The same happens with Sugo. Her magic also shatters the crystal. When it's Memory Toka's turn, the unexpected happens. His magic glows purple, the weakest among them. The leader ignores him and calls the next person, who is Yasu. Yasu's magic is black, and the leader says, we've seen this result before. It's the same as the legendary hero known as the strongest in the world. Yasu smirks and says, I knew my time would come. The leader begins teaching them how to open their status screens to see their level, mana, and skills. Toka is shocked to find his stats are abnormally low. He reads that he has a unique skill that disrupts his status. The leader explains, unique skills are special abilities that only their owner can use. Some of you may already have innate skills, but other skills can be activated. Oyamada cuts her off, saying, enough explaining. His teacher scolds him, don't talk to the leader like that. Oyamada snaps back, you're just a D-rank hero, and you think you can talk to an A-rank hero like that? You've always looked down on us, but now you're beneath us. The leader tells them, we have something important to do now, then calls for Toka. The guards push him forward, and she says, you are an A-rank hero, the lowest rank among all the heroes here. In the past, low-ranked heroes have always been a burden, so at some point, we started dealing with them. However, handling them back then either caused great shock among the other heroes or made the stronger ones fight each other. So we decided to give the lowest ranked heroes a chance. Toka asks, what do you mean? She replies, the circle beneath you will transport you to certain ruins. If you survive and reach the surface, we won't interfere anymore. An alien will grant you the right to live freely. He asks, are these ruins dangerous? She replies, no one knows. We have sent extremely dangerous criminals and a large number of heroes to these ruins in the past. As an exception, I will tell you their name. They are called the Disposal Ruins. Toka says, I have a unique skill that causes status disruptions. It allows me to inflict paralysis, poison, and many other effects. She replies, in this world, spells and status disruption skills are worthless. Even when they succeed, they barely affect weak monsters, and their duration is short. Worse still, your rank is extremely low. Even if you level up, don't expect significant stat growth. Toka says, but you summoned me here and made me a hero, and now you're discarding me? Takuto interrupts, read the room, memory. The girls are exhausted. Don't you feel sorry for them? They mock him, and Yasu approaches him, asking, are you okay? Toka remembers how he always helped Yasu when they were kids. He tells him, thank you, Yasu. Yasu responds, what are you saying? My name is Mr. Yasu. You're the lowest rank, so you need to show some respect to those ranked above you. The leader activates the magic circle, tosses him a bag, and says, all heroes receive a unique item when they are summoned, and this pathetic leather bag is your unique item. The gem inside it will glow when you pour your magic into it, but that's all it does. Sugo says, wait, Memory is our classmate. You have to release him immediately. The leader strikes her in the stomach, knocking her unconscious, and tells the other heroes, look at this pathetic hero and understand that this is the fate of every nobody. Toka unleashes a paralysis technique, but she easily deflects it, saying, a weak skill like that won't work on a leader. I have a barrier that is constantly active, providing automatic defense against status disruption spells. She tells the heroes, this is your failure of a classmate, the worthless Irank. Takuto uses Dragon Storm Strike, though he doesn't aim at anyone, and says, looks like I can use my skill. I was just testing it. The leader tells him, be more careful in the future, please. Toka starts crying and says to himself, why am I crying? I understand, right? No matter how much I pretend to be harmless, that's not my true nature at all. I'm frustrated, aren't I? Show them your true colors. Show them the real you that you keep suppressing. He tells her, go to hell, you vile leader. If I return alive, be prepared. He is transported to the ruins and pours his magic into the bag to light his way. He feels something moving around him and dodges a monster's attack just in time, then starts running. He thinks, I'm terrified. No, I've felt this before. I'm not scared. I'm frustrated. He falls to the ground, and the monster roars in his face. Just before its claw reaches his face to kill him, he tries the paralysis technique, and it works. He gets up and runs, thinking, but the leader said status disruptions rarely work on low-level monsters. He assumes it was just luck and keeps running until he encounters another monster approaching him. He tries the paralysis technique again, and it succeeds. He opens his status screen and sees that his mana is nearly depleted. He thinks, if I don't stop using my skill, I'm done for. He tries using a poison technique, and it works, but his mana runs out. He asks himself, what will happen if I keep using status disruption skills? The first monster appears behind him again after the paralysis wears off. He remembers the leader's words, and recalls his father beating him as a child. He uses the paralysis technique on it, but it fails, and he hears the system's voice saying, you cannot use the same skill on the same target twice. So he uses the sleep technique, causing the monster to fall asleep, and then he poisons it. Toka starts feeling exhausted due to mana consumption. Suddenly, a swarm of monsters appears, and he uses the paralysis technique on them. He begins feeling dizzy and is on the verge of losing consciousness. He keeps using the paralysis technique repeatedly until he reaches his limit, and the monsters get closer and closer. Suddenly, he hears the system's voice saying, your level has increased, and your mana points have been restored. He paralyzes the monsters approaching him and looks behind him, finding that the monster he poisoned has died. He deduces that he leveled up because he gained experience points from it. He continues fighting, leveling up, and discovers that he can now target multiple enemies at once. He thinks to himself, maybe my skill only doesn't work on the leader. He also notices that he cannot target monsters that are too far away, meaning his status disruption skill has a limited range. He approaches the paralyzed monsters and poisons them, causing his level to rise even more until it reaches 258. He waits for the monsters to die, and his level continues increasing. Then he puts the remaining ones to sleep, and his sleep skill levels up to the second level, making the other monsters afraid of him and flee. Afterward, he feels extreme hunger and tries to eat the monsters, but he finds their bodies are made of acid. Then he notices that the glow of his bag has changed color. He picks it up, pours his magic into it, and opens it. Inside, he finds food. Days pass as he continues leveling up and killing monsters. He remembers his childhood, crying from the beatings and violence he endured from his father. He says, I will kill you one day, or I will be killed. His uncle and aunt open the door and say, sorry we were late. Come with us. He thinks to himself, they gave me stability, the warmth of a family, treated me kindly, and taught me compassion. I thought I had become like them, yet I feel no guilt while killing. He continues on his path until he finds a floating eye about to attack him, so he quickly paralyzes and poisons it. He finds a door with a gem embedded in it, pours magic into it, and the door opens. Inside, he finds two skeletons and thinks to himself, it looks like they chose to accept death here. He finds gems in their bags and says, I might need these when I reach the surface. He opens another door and finds a skeleton holding a piece of paper that reads, I am the dark hero, Anglin. The leader sent me here by force. It seems she no longer needed me and couldn't bear to look at me anymore. If you have the will to escape here alive, I want to entrust you with something I brought here. Toka recalls when the leader told Yasu This is the same result as the dark hero known as the strongest of all time. He thinks to himself, she said the great demon empire is evil, but she is much worse. And I suppose I'm no different from her, since I want revenge against her and don't care about saving this world. Evil against evil against evil. He finds a book of forbidden arts next to England's skeleton and discovers formulas for potions and magical tools. He also finds a forbidden magic scroll, but it's written in a language he doesn't understand. In the book, he reads a terrifying sentence, "Beware of the Soul Eater, for it killed everyone." Toka continues moving and finds a door, realizing that it won't open unless he places a certain item inside. He thinks to himself, this must lead to the surface, which means the Soul Eater is nearby. Even the dark hero, who was known as the strongest, couldn't defeat it. He finds a face embedded in the wall with a sphere in its forehead and deduces that this is what he needs to open the door. He raises his hand to use the paralysis technique, but the Soul Eater strikes his hand, causing it to bleed. Toka thinks to himself, its beam must activate the moment I intend to attack, leaving no openings for an assault. Suddenly, the Soul Eater breaks the wall and moves, releasing monsters resembling heroes from its mouth. It shatters the wall, roars, and opens its eye. Toka paralyzes the creatures it released and pretends, saying, I can't do this to others. How could I use my terrible poison skill on another person? I won't be that cruel. I won't treat human souls as playthings like you do. Toka cries, and the Soul Eater revels in his despair, summoning more monsters that approach him. He thinks to himself, it enjoys my suffering and laughs uncontrollably. Toka uses the paralysis technique on it and says, I know this was the happiest moment of your life, the one you were always searching for. That's why you neglected your defense and didn't even realize it. For days, months, and years, I tried not to be harmful. I tried to be normal, to be kind. I even deceived myself and forgot my true nature because I had to keep playing the role of memory Toka, the ordinary, kind character. But they all showed open hostility. And even if they were monsters created using the souls of heroes, there's no reason for me to hold back. Aggression must be met with aggression. If you try to force your way through the paralysis, it will only cause you greater harm. Then he poisons the Soul Eater. The souls of the heroes it killed emerge from it and say to Toka, well done. We are happy for you. The two heroes from whom he took the gems tell him, we hope they will be useful to you. The dark hero, Anglin, appears and says, please, eliminate the leader. They all disappear, and Toka says, I don't have to accept that request, but don't worry, it might take some time, but I plan to return the favor to that vile leader in the end. He places the gem in the surface door, and it opens. At the same time, Oyamada is chasing a wolf. Takuto turns a monster into ashes and says, now I'm at level 18, and Yasu also burns monsters. Meanwhile, Aiko-Saba Asagi places her hand on Kabato's shoulder and says, there's something I want to confirm. If my analysis is correct, our group will likely collapse because it's full of arrogant people, and many of them are just a nuisance. What makes things worse is that we've been ranked. By the way, I'm a B rank, and over time, we will surely divide into different groups. When that happens, you'll join my group, right? You won't join Kurihara's group since you're at D rank, and the Takao sisters are always together, while Ayaka is bound to die anyway. So, you need to think carefully about your position because when all of this is over and we defeat the Great Demon Empire and return to our world, this could affect our relationships, and you might find yourself with nowhere to belong, Kashima Kabato. Then, she orders the other girls to bring a monster and says to Kabato, our little dove didn't complete the test the leader gave us, right? We decided to help you so that Asagi's group will be the strongest. Kill it quickly. Kabato struggles but manages to kill it. She feels guilty and remembers Toka finding an injured cat in the street and taking it in to heal it. She starts crying and says, I'm sorry, I couldn't do anything, feeling guilty about what happened to Memory. At the same time, Sugo wakes up and remembers that the leader struck her. She goes to her, and the leader says, what happened to Memory was truly unfortunate, and I'm sorry. But this is a fixed practice in the kingdom of Alien. I'm very sorry, Sugo. But there's no time for sorrow. While you were sleeping all these days, everyone else went out for a test to see if they could kill a monster or not. But many failed and were eliminated. Sugo asks, you mean you're getting rid of the weak? The leader responds, that's Alien's policy. Sugo tells her, I don't agree with your way of handling things. The leader laughs and says, the world is full of different people and different opinions. I am tolerant of everything, so I can accept small differences in views. But we must eliminate those who have no value. Sugo asks, the S-rank heroes hold value for you, right? The leader replies, yes, very much so. Sugo then says, I will fulfill my duty as an S-rank hero to make up for the students who won't be able to pass the test. So can you not eliminate them? The leader replies, that's a great proposal. Meanwhile, a girl is running through the forest, being pursued by 4 men known as the Great Guards. At the same time, Toka opens his status screen and says, mana points are the only exceptional thing about me. But what I need to confirm now is that I can cancel paralysis whenever I want, even if only on the head, and that I can make poison non-lethal or nullify it. And now, I need a sword, a fighter who can handle close combat for me. On his way, he encounters a group of slimes, 4 large ones and 1 small one. The bigger ones gather around the smaller one and bully it. Toka sees himself in it and thinks, don't let them get away with it. But they overwhelm it, and he feels disheartened, saying, there's no hope. However, the small slime doesn't give up and strikes them all. Toka is thrilled and says, that's the spirit. Toka steps in, poisons the 4, and experiments with making the poison non-lethal or nullifying it, then lets them go. He tells the small slime, sorry I was late to help you, but well done. I'm glad you stood up for yourself. As Toka walks away, the slime follows him. He decides to take it with him since it's an outcast like him. Meanwhile, the girl stops and thinks, they're far away, but their presence hasn't disappeared. They're waiting for me to exhaust myself. That means the great guards hunt this way. At the same time, Toka places the slime behind him and asks, can you see behind me? You will be my eyes in the back. He opens the Forbidden Techniques book and finds a way to enhance the slime's power. He tells it, I am on a journey for revenge. Do you agree with that? The slime changes its color to green, signaling agreement. He says, if you want to leave, I won't stop you. The slime changes its color to red. Toka stands up and says, I'll count on you, by Gemaru. Meanwhile, the girl keeps running, and the guards continue chasing her. She stops, summons the Cloak of Spirits, and prepares to face them. The guards come across Toka on their way. He pretends to be afraid of them. Zerash says, just looking at you is disgusting. Jobani says, hand over all your valuables and we'll let you live. Mangacap says, no, let's kill him. I want to test this blade on a living person. Toka steps back and tries to flee, but Mangacap stops him. Toka pleads, please, let me go. I don't want to die here for no reason. Mangacap says, no, and attacks him. Toka paralyzes them and thinks, status disruptions work on humans. It seems the leader really is the only exception. He tells them, you're not as terrifying as the ruins monsters, but I think your aggression is equal to or even worse than theirs. That means you're all scum. I wouldn't feel bad if you died. In fact, I think I'd feel better. He poisons them all, takes what's useful, and senses someone else nearby. At the same time, the girl notices the 4 presences disappear and senses someone else approaching her. She thinks, his presence isn't very strong, but it's unsettling. The spirits are afraid of him. She feels something in the trees and strikes it. It turns out to be by Gemaru. Toka appears behind her and paralyzes her. He says, I sensed your intent to attack, but there was something else mixed with your hostility which made me curious. So, I thought we should talk for a bit. I'll keep you paralyzed just in case. She asks, what is your goal? He replies, it seems I'm lost. I'm not from here and don't know this area. Can you tell me about it? She asks, and the other 4? He asks, were they your friends? She replies, no. He says, I'll let you move your mouth now. If you try anything, I'll use my skill again. He thinks to himself, that's a lie. I can't use paralysis in succession. He tells her, sorry, but I'm still cautious of you. I've been through a lot on my way here, so I don't trust strangers easily. She says, there's something I want to confirm before I answer your questions. Have you encountered a group of 4? He replies, yes, I killed them. She asks, you killed the great guards by yourself? He says, I have one ally, but I won't reveal them now. She says, thank you for answering my questions. I didn't sense any lies when you said you defeated the guards. He thinks to himself, she seems very confident in her ability to detect lies. I'll answer her questions honestly since she saved me. He says, you're not a bad person to me so far. She asks, does that mean I've gained your trust? He says, a little. But like you, there are things I prefer not to talk about, so I think it's best we don't get too deep. One last question. He shows her the scroll and asks, can you read this writing? She replies, I think it's an old script with a unique style. I can't read it, but I know someone who might be familiar with it. She was once known as the Forbidden Sorceress and has vast knowledge of everything prohibited in this world. She was deemed dangerous and exiled from her homeland. He asks, where can I find her? She says, in the land of golden-eyed beasts, a deceptive region in the center of the continent. He tells her, you could say we're even. We'll part ways now. You have no objections, right? She replies, no, as long as you're satisfied. He thinks to himself, she has genuine pride and is too straightforward. She reminds me of my aunt. She was so kind that it made me worry about her. He tells her, the paralysis will wear off in a few minutes, then leaves. And then he goes to the city of Mills, and the gatekeeper says to him, you came to join the ruins raid? So he replies, yes, but I've never been to a prosperous town before. She allows him to enter the city, and he heads to the nearest inn, noticing that the owner gives him a negative look. Toka tells him, my journey was long, and my clothes need washing. Can you give me something to wear? He pulls out a large amount of money, making the innkeeper happy, who then asks, what's your name? He replies, Hattie Skull. He sits and thinks about what to do next, saying, our priority is to find someone who can read the forbidden magic scroll, which means we need to find the forbidden sorceress hiding in the land of golden eyes and the slime enhancement potion. He recalls when he was in the restaurant and overheard someone mentioning that a raid on the ruins was happening. He reads that he needs a crushed bone from the skeleton king, whose dwelling is in the Mills ruins. The next day, he volunteers for the raid, and Marquis Harkley tells them, we recently discovered a new floor in the ruins, so I'm assigning you to explore it. Whoever finds the dragon eye chalice will receive 300 gold coins, and I will pay well for any treasure you find. He sees someone harassing a girl and saying, "It's obvious despite you hiding your face. You are very beautiful and elegant, so you must be someone famous. Could you be the heroic leader of some land?" People say Sira's Ashrain from the great Nia Empire. The leader with a bounty on her head. The commander of the leader's knights, right? The girl responds, "I don't remember seeing you before." He tells her, "You might fool anyone, but you can't fool me. Your pointed ears prove you are Sira's Ashrain." He removes her cloak, declaring, "The person who revealed the true identity of the night princess is me, the Flash Conch Dragedy." But he is shocked to see her ears are normal. Tuka realizes she is the same girl he met in the forest. Dragedy falls to the ground, and she tells him, "My name is Miss Belokas. I am not Sira's Ashrain. Have you had enough now?" Tuka walks away, saying, "I need to go to the market and start exploring." Mist appears and asks, "Are you here to fulfill the Marquis' request?" He replies, "Sort of. That man who was harassing you earlier seemed very angry and full of hatred." She tells him, "I meet people like him from time to time. It's easier when they hate me and stay away rather than trying to get close." He responds, "It's clear you're trying to avoid interacting with others. But still, I have a request." She asks, "You want advice to avoid getting scammed when buying exploration gear, right?" He says, "I'll pay you for your help." She tells him, "Actually, I need money for travel, so that's a useful deal for me." He says, "Deal?" She shakes his hand and says, "Mist Belokas." He replies, "Hattie Skull." He thinks to himself, this woman is careful with lies. He tells her, "A fake name, for sure." She is surprised, and he adds, "We both have our secrets, so we don't have to exchange our real names." They go shopping for gear, and he gives her the money as agreed. She tells him, "That's more than I expected." She suddenly falls to the ground, and he asks, "Are you okay?" She replies, "I haven't slept in days, but I'm fine," and then she leaves. Later, he arrives at the ruins and sees people running from a monster. He paralyzes it, poisons it, and stabs it with a dagger so no one will know he was the one who killed it. The people who had fled return with a fighter to slay the monster, only to find it already dead. Tuka hears them say, "It seems another mercenary killed it." Another says, "How could someone take it down with just a dagger?" Tuka continues walking and hears Dragedy telling some mercenaries, "I want you to make that woman who insulted me regret the day she was born. Kill her. And if she begs for her life and truly regrets what she did, don't kill her quickly, torture her." Tuka appears and tells them, "You're a bunch of fools. There's no hope for you." They raise their weapons, and Tuka says, "Wait, I'm sorry. Please forgive me." Dragedy laughs and tells him, "You're begging for your life the moment you realize we have the advantage." He attacks, but Tuka paralyzes them and asks, "Who are you planning to kill?" He poisons them, saying, "Taking care of people like you is satisfying." Dragedy tells him, "I'll make you regret this." Tuka replies, "Are you stupid? That's exactly why I'm taking you down right now." Then he meets the Sword Tigers group, and they tell him, something strange is happening in the ruins. The monsters are dying in strange ways in random places. Vice Captain Foss tells him, "The problem is we don't know who's killing them. All we know is that their skin turns very pale." Captain Lily says, "Strong and weak monsters alike are dying in these strange ways. Even the monsters on the 14th floor, which we reached first. As the leader, I value my comrades more than anything, so we're withdrawing." She asks, "Do you want to return to the surface with us?" He replies, "No, I'll continue." After they leave, he keeps going, thinking to himself, "They're probably talking about the monster corpses I killed with my skill. If word spreads about something unnatural happening, that means fewer mercenaries. Good for me." He finds a door, opens it, and sees the dragon eye chalice with a statue above it. He suspects the statue will move, so he uses paralysis on it. The statue tries to move, confirming his suspicion, so he poisons it and takes the chalice. Mist appears and tells him, "I thought I'd be the first one here since the other mercenaries withdrew." He says, "If you need the chalice, take it." She asks, "What do you want in return?" "Gold." He replies, "That's not what I want," and starts to leave. She says, "I can't take it without offering anything in return." He tells her, "Hattie Skull is a very kind man." She says, "Liar." He replies, "This treasure isn't my goal." He finds a secret door, opens it, and tells her, "My goal is the monster below." She asks, "I thought only the floors leading to this chalice were discovered." He says, "There's a monster that has something I need." And coincidentally, the ruins raid happened at the same time I was here. She tells him, "At least let me protect you. The only thing I can offer right now is my sword skills." He thinks to himself, it seems her desire to repay debts is strong. He asks, "Can I add some conditions?" "First, we avoid asking about each other's circumstances. We're just a bodyguard and a client. And I'm not necessarily returning to the surface within a day, so if you want to leave alone, I won't be responsible for you." She agrees, saying, "I will protect you even if it costs me my life." They continue on, and she kills the monsters instead of him. He asks her, "Do you know about golden monsters?" She replies, "Yes. They are said to have extensive experience. They are ideal prey for heroes from another world to level up." "Do you know about heroes from another world?" He responds, "Yes." She adds, it seems they don't gain experience from killing humans. I heard experience points are exclusive to monsters. He thinks to himself, that explains why I didn't gain anything when I killed the great guards. He asks her, what qualifies monsters as golden? She says, ordinary monsters, but some can form positive relationships with humans. According to legends, the Demon King, considered the source of all evil, releases a special energy known as the Demon King's essence, and monsters strongly affected by it gain golden eyes. Their innate violent instincts are unleashed. They find a door. Tuka opens it, and Mist tells him, I sense a monster. Not strong, so I ignored it, but I felt it constantly and very close. Bijimaro appears and says, that's my partner. I hope you get along. He tells her, you need to sleep. You look exhausted. She replies, it's fine. He says, at least rest. It won't help me if you collapse midway. She says, alright, and lies down. He uses a sleep technique on her, sees her information, and says, you really are the former commander of Nia's Great Knights, Sira Zashrain. After a while, they wake up and continue their path, finding a door. As they approach it, they hear something coming towards them, so they step back. The wall breaks, and the Skeleton King appears. Mist says, we can defeat him if we destroy the silver part under his chin. The Skeleton King looks at Mist, and Tuka thinks to himself, it seems he sees Mist as a real threat here. Mist draws her sword and tells Tuka, I have a request. I'm about to use a technique to enhance my physical abilities and create unique weapons. Can we keep this power a secret for as long as possible? The monster charges an energy orb in its mouth, and Mist says, I apologize in advance if this monster exceeds my expectations. I might not be able to protect you. Before the Skeleton King releases the energy, Tuka uses his paralysis technique, surprising Mist. Then he poisons the monster and destroys it, taking what he needed from it. Bijimaro points to a spot, and Tuka follows, finding an egg in the hands of a skeleton. He asks Bijimaro, are you interested in this egg? Bijimaro replies, yes. Meanwhile, the other heroes are fighting skeletons. Kabato tries to calm Sakura, whose hand was cut off, while Sugo stands frozen in fear, saying, I need to buy time so the others can escape. Oyamata attacks the skeletons with fireballs, and Takuto uses the Dragon Storm. Sugo saves Sakura and Kabato before his attack hits them, saying, the enemies were strong, but I am stronger. I've now reached level 24. At the same time, Mist hands the Dragon Chalice to the guards, shocking everyone that she managed to obtain it. Tuka moves out of sight, and Mist follows him, saying, there's a party tomorrow, and I'll receive my reward. He replies, I assume you're not busy until the celebration tomorrow, right? She says, yes. He tells her, I want to talk to you alone. How about meeting me in my room at 8? She agrees and says, thank you for the Dragon Chalice. At night, he prepares the monster enhancement potion for Bijimaro. Mist arrives, and he tells her, I want you to be my personal guard if you're interested in making money. Though you probably have enough to travel. You've likely already guessed, but my goal is to find the forbidden sorceress, and my destination is the land of golden beasts. I'd feel safer with a swordswoman protecting me. She replies, I'm heading to the Duchy of Yamato, and if we go there through the land of golden beasts, it will be convenient for me. He tells her, no need to rush the decision. It seems there are other routes leading to your destination. By the way, can I ask you a question, Cirrus? She is shocked that he knows her real name. He tells her, sorry for surprising you. Your information appeared to me while you were sleeping because of my skill. You were hesitant earlier to reveal yourself to me, right? Traveling together while you hide your identity will be a problem because you probably won't be able to sleep. She says, yes. He tells her, I need your combat skills, and I have no intention of betraying you. She tells him, I use spirit power to conceal my identity. The cost is giving up my desire to sleep. He replies, that's why you return to your true form when you sleep. She says, yes. The great guards were after me because they saw my real face. It became easier to travel once they disappeared. She lifts the spell, and he tells her, so I assume this means you trust me? She replies, yes. I think you are a man worthy of trust. He says, my real name is Tuka Memory, and don't ever tell anyone. In return, I won't reveal your name to anyone without your permission. He thinks to himself, this is another way to bind her to me through trust. She tells him, I will be your personal guard and go with you to the land of golden beasts. He replies, I'll rely on you. Then he hands her one of the gems he took from the ruins. She is stunned and says, this is a blue dragon gem. He asks, is it valuable? She replies, these gems rarely form inside legendary blue dragons. There's nothing like it in the market right now, and its value far exceeds the Dragon Eye Chalice reward. He tells her, consider it a fair price. She responds, you can't just give something like this away so easily. She tries to return it, but he throws it back at her, saying, I told you, it's yours. Throw it away if you want. It's enough payment for protecting me. She says, yes. Though it may be too late now, I'm a fugitive, and there are many things I haven't told you about myself. He replies, I'm not trying to learn your past. As your employer, I want you to be at your best as my guard, and I have no intention of prying further. The next day, he asks her, have you heard of forbidden magic? She replies, yes. It's magic banned by order of the leader, Vicious. He thinks to himself, magic banned by the leader. That means it poses a threat to her. They leave the restaurant, and Miss tells him, I'm heading to the castle. They said there's a morning reception, and I'm supposed to be back by 11. Tuka goes to test the monster enhancement potion on Bijimaro. After that, he waits for her at the spot where they parted at the time she mentioned, but she is late. Meanwhile, in the Lion Castle, the leader tells Sugo, I heard you had a hard time when the skeleton knights appeared. Sugo asks, did you learn anything about Sakura? The leader replies, don't worry, I'll heal her with a recovery spell. I can't use it on just anyone. This is only because Sakura is of B rank. She then asks, aren't you going to join Kurihara's group? Sugo replies, I don't think I'd get along with Kurihara in his current state. The leader tells her, your selfishness disrupts the unity of your team. Sugo responds, selfishness? You're mistaken. The leader says, this is all due to inadequate guidance. That's entirely my fault. Sugo replies, I'm sorry. Even if this is selfishness, I can't join Kurihara. The leader tells her, even if that means turning your back on a world striving for salvation. Sugo replies, I fulfill my role as an S-rank hero in my own way. The leader says, understood. Then I'll entrust you with the students who failed their test. If an S-rank hero like you trains them, I'm confident they will become very strong. Sugo gets angry and says, we already settled this when you agreed that I would fight in their place. The leader tells her, we received a royal order days ago instructing us to eliminate heroes who cannot fight. I'm sorry, but I don't have the power to change it. Sugo asks, will you get rid of them if I refuse? The leader replies, that's what I'll have to do. I'm sorry. Meanwhile, Tuka thinks to himself, either I misjudged Cirrus or something happened to her. He asks Bijimaro, do you think she abandoned us? Bijimaro replies, no, so he sets out to find out what happened. On his way, he overhears two people talking. One of them says, the woman who obtained the Dragon Eye Chalice was the runaway knight princess. I heard she fled to the dark forest. It's time for the hunt. He then sees the black dragon knights flying toward the forest. At the same time, Cirrus is running through the forest and sees the knights. One of the dragons approaches her, so she uses a wind technique to bring it down. Another one attacks her, and she slashes it. She thinks to herself, my light spirit is unsettled due to the illusion disruptor. I won't be able to transform until I recover. A third knight attacks, and she cuts down the dragon. She thinks to herself, if an ordinary knight is this skilled, how strong must the higher-ranked soldiers be? A sword is thrown at her, and she deflects it, looking up to see a lone dragon. She leaps in the opposite direction and finds the knight, who tells her, you deduced well. My name is Jaisen. I am the vice-captain of the unit led by Urban, one of the 5 knights. You will die here, Cirrus. She thinks to herself, I can't use my spirit cloak right now. Jaisen strikes with his sword, and she blocks it, saying, I thought they were trying to capture me. She asks him, has this turned into an assassination attempt? He replies, Urban's unit has secret orders. There are people in this world who want you dead. Suddenly, she loses her footing and falls, and Jaisen knocks her sword away. Tuka uses his paralysis technique on him and says to Cirrus, you're late. Our meeting time has passed. He poisons the dragon and ensures the poison on Jaisen is non-lethal. She asks him, what are you doing here? He replies, I was looking for you, of course. She tells him, that's not an answer to my question. He tells her, wait, then puts Jaisen to sleep. She tells him, if you stay with me, the dragon knights will keep chasing you. She hands him back the gem he gave her and says, let's cancel our agreement. He throws her the rest of the blue dragon gems and tells her, finding a better guard would be a hassle. Change your clothes because the people of Mills saw you in those, he tells her. She replies, wait, when did we start acting as if our agreement is still valid? He tells her, I have a suggestion. Why don't you negotiate with the forbidden sorceress and ask her to shelter you? No one knows where she lives. I'm heading there to learn more about the ancient text. That way, our agreement remains valid. She asks him, why are you going this far from me? He replies, you remind me of someone. You don't look alike, you don't speak the same way, and your personalities are different, but you both have the same aura. I'd feel like I abandoned my aunt if I left you here. He tells Jaisen, if you answer my questions honestly, I will spare you. Jaisen replies, don't think you can get away with opposing the Black Dragon Knights. Cirrus asks, who wants me dead? Before he can answer, a spear is hurled at his head. The one who threw it is Sevit, the strongest human. She says, Sevit Gartland and the 5 knights too. Tuka says, but there are only 4. One is missing. Sevit says, you shut his mouth. Urban asks, was there really a need to kill him? Tuka asks, I assume Ortola gave the order. Cirrus asks, does Emperor Ortola want me? Sevit replies, Jaisen would have slowed us down at this stage, so I killed him. But I would have let him live if he had dodged the attack. Cirrus says, what are you even saying? Urban tells her, it seems the old man can't die in peace while you're alive. Cirrus falls to her knees and says, you're lying. But Sevit has a different opinion and says, I find myself more interested in the young man than in Cirrus now. He asks Tuka, who are you? Tuka thinks to himself, he's still out of my range. This man is far more dangerous than the Soul Eater. Sevet asks, what are you laughing at? Tuka thinks to himself, that's true. Why do these moments make me laugh? Sevet tells him, can we talk for a bit? Tuka replies, tell me your name first. Sevet tells him, Hattie Skull. Sevet says, a false name. You need to hide your real identity. There must be a story behind that. Schweitz asks Sevet, why are you interested in that boy? Sevet replies, don't you find it strange? He's standing before the 5 knights, yet he's not afraid, just waiting for an opening to attack. He knows that one wrong move will lead to his death, yet despite that, he's laughing and wants to talk. Tuka tells him, I want to ask you a question. You seek a worthy opponent, right? Sevet replies, correct. Tuka asks, but aren't there plenty of strong opponents everywhere? Like the leader, Vicious? Sevet replies, my nations, Bacchus and Alien, have formed strong ties, but I have high hopes for the heroes summoned from another world. I'm certain they will be worthy opponents for me, and I'm waiting for that day. He tells Cirrus, I've lost interest in you now. At the very least, I will honor you by delivering your head to Katlia, Princess of Nia. She asks, you would do that to a princess? He replies, shut up. You're the reason for Bacchus' sudden change of stance and the reason it invaded Nia in the first place. Urban tells her, why are you acting surprised? Surely you had some idea of the truth already. Bacchus annihilated Nia because our leader demanded they hand over their young princess, and your great emperor refused. Sevet says, nothing kills my interest more than those who refuse to fight to the death. Even if they're weak, they must attack me. But of course, I prefer that they have the strength to kill me. Tuka laughs and thinks to himself, I found a way to survive. He tells Sevet, you want an opponent who can truly threaten your life, right? What if I become that opponent? He then asks, you said you're waiting for the day you fight one of the heroes from another world, right? My real name is Tuka Memory, and I am a hero from another world. Sevet replies, that's why I felt something was off. He asks him, what are you doing here? Tuka thinks to himself, Sevet consents lies. Clear lies won't work on him. He replies, my situation is somewhat different, even among my fellow heroes. I operate independently by order of the leader. Sevet asks, and why are you separate from them? Tuka replies, it seems I'm on a different level compared to the others, so I was sent alone. Sevet is surprised and says, a man even the leader considers special. He then asks, what will you ask of me, hero? Tuka tells him, a reprieve. I will grow much stronger and kill you. I will become stronger than anything and anyone, and I will gain the power to eliminate the leader. Sevet replies, alright, I want to see your progress. After that, we will fight to the death. Tuka tells him, that's the spirit. Sevet tells him, you may leave now. We will leave as soon as we silence Cirrus. Tuka tells him, that's not acceptable. I need Cirrus' strength to reach the land of golden beasts. I will use her to increase my power. Sevet laughs and says, well done. I'll spare Cirrus as well. I look forward to the day we meet again. Tuka. They then fly off on their dragons. Tuka laughs and thinks to himself, I managed to make Sevet leave us. That means he's finally within my range. He paralyzes them, causing them to fall to the ground, then poisons them. He sees Sevet forcing his body to move and thinks, they don't call him the strongest human for nothing. This is the second time I've seen someone force themselves to move while paralyzed, after the Soul Eater, but this is suicide. Sevet attempts to throw his spear at him but is bleeding heavily. Tuka thinks to himself, I've never seen anyone move this much after being hit with both paralysis and poison. I need to be ready for anything. A symbol appears on Sevet's face, and the corpse of one of his subordinates transforms into a projectile that shoots into the sky as a signal. A swarm of dragons and knights arrives, and Sevet tells them, kill them from the sky. Don't get close to them. Tuka thinks to himself, my link with Bijimaro has 2 issues. First, the time it takes to enter this state, and second, the rapid depletion of my mana points. In other words, the power we gained from the monster enhancement potion is useful for long-range combat. He extends tendrils from his body, reaching the knights in the sky. Using his paralysis technique through them, he makes them all fall. He extends his tendrils further, putting Sevet and the knights to sleep. New skills unlock for him, and he tests a berserk technique that triggers violent urges in anyone it affects. Tuka thinks, if I combine it with paralysis, it will kill any enemy instantly. He then discovers a skill that blinds anyone it hits, and they all die. Sevet, with his last breath, asks him, who are you? Tuka replies, I'm no longer a hero who will save the world. I'm just an avenger. The next day, a girl appears before the heroes and tells them, I am Nintan, and I am here in place of the leader. You will soon enter the second stage. At sunset, the Knights of Leader Vicious stand at the entrance of the disposal ruins. Their captain holds a crystal and says, this is supposed to be silver. It seems something has malfunctioned. One of the knights asks, should we report this to Alien? The captain replies, no. We'll write in today's report that there's no issue, as usual. Nothing has changed here anyway. Another knight asks, do you really think anyone could leave these ruins alive? The captain replies, impossible. The next day, in the White Guard castle of the Magnar Kingdom, they discuss what happened and the death of the 5 knights. The leader tells them, the knights were pursuing Cirrus. One person says, I heard the great Emperor Ortola died yesterday, and I heard he lost his mind before he died. Another replies, we don't care about a coward like him who sold his country without a fight. Then, a knight enters and reports, someone in Alza is claiming responsibility for the elimination of the Black Dragon Knights, calling themselves the cursed magic users of Ashant. At the same time, Tuka and Cirrus are on their way to the land of golden beasts. Tuka hears the sound of a cheering crowd, and Cirrus tells him that's the Bloodsport Coliseum, a battle arena where mercenaries and slaves fight for rewards. It's run by the Duke and the Mercenary Guild. This is the main source of entertainment for people now, but it originally started as a place for the guild to evaluate fighters. That night in a restaurant, they hear people talking. Cirrus Ashrain killed the 5 knights, and it seems she's dead. Others say Ashant took down the 5 knights, the cursed magic users that everyone's been talking about lately. They claim everywhere that they killed the knights with their curses. Then, some people wearing red cloaks enter, saying, we are the guards of Ashant, the soldiers who protect Mawaji, descendant of the curse leader. We are the curse soldiers. They act arrogantly and push people around. Tuka thinks to himself, they barely pose a threat, but it benefits me if they take credit for killing the Black Dragon Knights. Tuka overhears 2 people talking. One says, speaking of dragon battles, the Dragon Slayer and the Tiger Man in the Colosseum. And also, the Forbidden Sorceress appeared. The other asks, she's a dark elf, right? The first replies, but no one has seen her in 10 years. The second responds, someone met her here in the royal capital. Tuka approaches them and asks, can you tell me more details? One of them replies, the person claiming to have met the sorceress is the strongest bloodsport fighter in Monroy. Tuka asks, how can I meet this person? The man replies, that beast is in the Bloodsport Coliseum. If you talk to Duke Swan, who runs the place, you're lucky, kid. Then, the person they were talking about enters the restaurant, and the man tells Tuka, that one over there is the strongest fighter in Monroy, Eve Speed, the half-tiger. Tuka walks up to her and says, can I buy you something? She looks at him, but doesn't speak. Tuka continues, I've heard a lot of rumors about you, and I've been hoping to meet you. My name is Hattie, and I'm a mercenary. She replies, Eve Speed. He is surprised that she is a woman. He asks, you're a bloodsport fighter, right? She replies, what do you want? You're not here because I'm a bloodsport fighter. He tells her, you saw right through me. He then asks, do you know where the Forbidden Sorceress is? She asks, are you the type to believe in rumors? She continues, it's true that I went to the land of golden beasts where she supposedly lives, but I never met her. He asks, so you don't know where she is? She replies, sorry, I don't know. Cirrus senses that she is lying. Eve then asks him, why are you looking for her? He replies, curiosity. I dream of becoming a scholar in the future. That's why I want to hire mercenaries and visit the sorceress. She tells him, that's not a place you just enter and leave alive. I doubt you'd survive there for 3 days. You should value your life. But maybe my words mean nothing coming from a bloodsport fighter. As Tuka and Cirrus leave, Cirrus tells him, Eve was lying. At the same time, Eve visits a young girl's house and asks, any updates? The girl replies, no. Eve tells her, hold on a little longer. I promise I'll get you out of here. Meanwhile, Cirrus shows Tuka her swordsmanship skills. He thinks to himself, now I understand why Sevet wanted to fight her. He asks, is there a trick to close combat? She teaches him one of the techniques she used to train knights when she was a commander. The next day, Cirrus gathers information about Eve and tells Tuka, she was a slave, and her master sold her to the Colosseum. Since tiger men are rare, she was successful in her first fight and hasn't lost a single match in 3 years. Tuka asks, did you hear that her next fight tomorrow is her last? Cirrus replies, yes. He tells her, that means she has already saved enough to buy her freedom. That will make negotiations with money more difficult. Cirrus tells him, but I found something concerning. She saved enough money to buy her freedom 2 years ago. She's trying to buy someone else's freedom. She then adds, there's something else you should know. Most former Bloodsport champions died in their final matches. Tuka asks, isn't that because they face stronger opponents? Cirrus replies, it seems there's more to it. I heard that the Duke who runs the Colosseum arranges for champions to be put in disadvantageous situations. Tuka replies, this could be our opportunity. She asks him, so, are we stopping this tomorrow? He replies, no, that's not my intention. There's no need to wait until tomorrow, at least not politely. That night, he meets Eve and tells her, I'm here to talk to you. She replies, I already told you I don't know where the Forbidden Sorceress is. He tells her, that was a lie. She replies, you're an insolent man. He asks her, are you indebted to the sorceress? She replies, no. Then Cirrus enters and tells her, that's another lie. Tuka tells her, why don't we stop deceiving each other, Eve? Eve grips her sword and asks them, tell me, what is your goal? Tuka tells her, I want to save you. The Duke who runs this place will make sure you lose tomorrow. Eve asks, and why do you want to help me? He replies, because I can't let someone who knows about the Forbidden Sorceress die. What if I took the girl you're trying to save and we escaped? She tells him, if you dare lay a hand on that girl. He interrupts, I just want you to know that I understand your situation. Cirrus tells her, we know you've been fighting for Lays these past 2 years. Eve replies, I appreciate the warning, but I can't run from tomorrow's match. Tuka asks, why not just agree to abduct her and escape? She asks, escape where? If I don't follow the rules to earn her freedom, the Duke will hunt us down, the guild will put a bounty on our heads, and every mercenary will be after us. If I were alone, it'd be different. Tuka asks, what if I told you about a safe place to hide? With the forbidden sorceress, she can shelter you. Eve replies, impossible. No one can reach the heart of the land of beasts. Tuka thinks to himself, the heart. She talks like she's been there before. He tells her, maybe we can reach it if we help each other. And I promise I will protect that girl with all my strength. Eve tells him, your swordsmanship is trained, but you are not. He replies, despite my appearance, I am skilled in magic. Strong enough that I defeated the skeleton king with ease. She tells him, he's vicious, sure, but he's nothing compared to what's in the land of beasts. Tuka tells her, what if I told you I was the one who killed the 5 knights? She replies, impossible. He tells her, I don't know if this will convince you or not. And then he uses his paralysis technique on her. This impossible power is what allowed someone as weak as me to kill the 5 knights. Sirus tells her, and I'll give you additional proof. I am Sirus Ashrain, the one the 5 knights were hunting. I saw them die with my own eyes. Tuka cancels the paralysis, and Eve tells him, but it's pointless. Regardless, I have to fight my match tomorrow. I'm not going to the land of beasts, and I will earn our freedom with my own hands. Victory in blood sport has always been my way forward, and I can't fully trust you. Tuka tells her, that's expected, but even if you win the match, do you really think the Duke will keep his word? It's hard for me to believe he'll truly grant you freedom. Eve tells him, I know he's not an honest man, but the reality is, he has always honored his word when I delivered the required results. He is still human, so I doubt he's as ruthless as you claim. I will trust in blood sport. Tuka asks, why do you keep trusting in blood sport? Are you sure you're not just saying that to convince yourself? He then tells her, either way, I hope you win. He takes Sirus and starts to leave. Eve tells him, wait. He replies, we're leaving the city tomorrow morning, and we'll be at the bridge near the front gate. Come if you change your mind. On their way, they see a group from Ashant occupying a house, telling the people, these house owners have been cursed for the sin of opposing Lord Mawaji. Sirus tells Tuka, their arrogance infuriates me. Tuka replies, it seems they really believe their group killed the 5 knights. Further along, they see more members of the same group harassing a girl and hitting her. Tuka uses his berserk technique on them, making them attack each other. They reach the bridge as they told Eve, with 4 hours left before they leave. At the same time, Eve is in her room, stepping out to confirm that she'll be freed if she wins tomorrow. She hears someone speaking to the Duke, saying, tomorrow will be a huge event. The Duke replies, yes. After that, we won't have any beloved bloodsport fighters like her anymore. Eve asks, I'm going to die tomorrow, just as you planned. The Duke replies, yes. We'll give her something to paralyze her before the match. I've given this fake human plenty of chances. The other man replies, but she'll still be a beast. The Duke responds, we'll have tomorrow's winner skin her and wear it. The man replies, that's a good idea. He then asks, and what about the dark elf in the white cafe? Eve stayed with us longer thanks to her. What's your plan? Will you grant her freedom? The Duke replies, I'll adopt her. She's just a little girl for now, and I plan to train her myself. If I get bored of her, I'll sell her off easily. The man then asks, and Eve, you feel no sympathy for her? The Duke replies, how could I sympathize with an animal? Eve gets furious and decides to go to Tuka, telling him, it's exactly as you said. He asks her, so, I assume you're coming with us to the land of beasts? She replies, yes, and I have conditions, but I'll tell you where the sorceress is. He tells her, let's go and take the girl. At the same time, the girl is cleaning the house when the house owner says, dark elves are truly useless, and hits her. The girl cries and remembers Eve's promise that she would come for her. She stands up and thinks to herself, I have to be strong like my sister. Her husband asks, wasn't that a bit too harsh? She replies, I should be the one pitted. I work tirelessly with no results. What's wrong with relieving some stress on this girl? She then tells the girl, I know what you hate the most. She screams in her ear and says, I'll kill you if you get arrogant. Eve kicks the door open and tells her, I hadn't heard it was this bad, but it's over now. I'm taking the girl with me. The woman replies, please forgive me. The Duke ordered me to discipline her harshly, and he would have killed me if I refused. I swear I won't say anything about your destination. Eve tells the girl, the situation has changed. We can't stay in the capital anymore, and it looks like I'll be taking you on another harsh journey. The girl replies, I'll go anywhere as long as I'm with you, sister. Eve tells the house owner, tell them that Eve went south to search for Lisbeth after she suddenly disappeared. I'll spare you if you do that. The woman replies, understood, and apologizes to Lisbeth for everything she did. Tuka enters wearing a mask and tells Eve, you go now. He then tells the house owner, you may have fooled someone kind like Eve, but your terrible acting won't work on me. She tells him, do you think you'll get away with this? If you go against him, it will be the end for you and that filthy beast. He tells her, from the girl's reaction, I understood that hitting and screaming at her in anger was enjoyable for you, but unbearable for her. Any loud noise will remind her of every time you screamed at her, and I won't tolerate you living as if you haven't done all these horrible things to this girl. She tells him, I told you, it's over for you. I'm the only one who can save you from that terrifying duke, so beg for my forgiveness. Tuka replies, it's over for you, then uses paralysis, darkness, and poison on her, saying, I'll make it look like a simple robbery. He returns to the others, and Eve tells Lisbeth, introduce yourself. She says, I'm Lisbeth. I'm sorry, I don't know my family name. Tuka tells her, I'm Tuka Memory. He then tells Eve, Hattie was a false name, and this swordswoman is Sira's Ashrain. He introduces them to Bijimaro, and they continue their journey. Eve tells Tuka, I'll tell you where the sorceress is, but first, I want to know why you're looking for her. He replies, I have a forbidden magic scroll written in an ancient script. Deciphering it is difficult, but I heard the forbidden sorceress can definitely do it. She asks, so you don't intend to harm her? He replies, as long as she doesn't intend to harm me. She tells him, I'm a simple woman. I can't predict the future like you. He replies, I can't predict much either. She tells him, I want to pledge my loyalty to you. He replies, that's a big leap in trust. She tells him, I believe you're a man worth trusting. He asks, and why is that? She replies, you could have used countless cruel methods to extract information from me about the forbidden sorceress, and you could have used the swordswoman to threaten me, but you didn't. That makes you a good person. They mount their horses, and Sirius asks Tuka, is it safe to take a child to the land of beasts? He replies, I'll protect her no matter what. Eve has been to the land of beasts before, so she has a connection to the sorceress and will make things easier for us. As for Liz, they say the forbidden sorceress is also a dark elf like her, so she will see us as people who saved one of her own. If we play our cards right, we can introduce ourselves in a positive way. That's the main goal. But allowing a child like her to enjoy life with a smile is far better than seeing her cry in fear. On their way, they spot the Duke's men searching for them in the forest. Tuka tells them, their response is too fast. How did they know? Eve replies, I met a man when I was leaving the Colosseum. He said his name was Mawaji. I'm sorry, I'm the reason you're in danger. Take Liz and run. Tuka tells her, you might be a Bloodsport champion, but you stand no chance against all of them alone. She asks, then what do we do? He replies, we set a trap. They light fires on the backs of 2 horses and release them. Sirius tells him, as expected, the first wave is chasing the horses. He asks, are there any Ashant among them? She replies, no, I didn't see any. Eve says, the first wave is likely the Duke's personal army, which means the second wave will be Ashant. Tuka tells her, we successfully distracted the first wave. Take Liz and hide in the forest. Mawaji notices a broken branch and says, this is a trap because it was deliberately broken. You knew we would notice it, so entering the forest is what you wanted us to do. Surrender and come out. Sirius steps out wearing the mask, and he says, hand over the tiger woman and the girl, and I'll spare you. Even better, I'll welcome you into the ranks of Ashant. I believe you're a skilled warrior. She asks, and if I refuse? He replies, I'll make you suffer with my curses. Even the 5 knights couldn't withstand our curses. She asks, are you claiming that you were the ones who killed them? He says, yes. She tells him, promise me you'll guarantee Eve and the girl's safety. He replies, I promise. She says, all right, I'll take you to them. He orders his soldiers, stop, then says to her, you're not really planning to hand them over, are you? Your words gave you away. You said, I'll take you all, even though a few men would have been enough. But you're trying to lure all of us into the forest. He tells his soldiers, stay back and prepare to attack. She says, I thought you were going to kill me with your curses. He tells her, I'll let you in on a secret. The soldiers of Ashant here are the successors of the Assassin's Guild, and we use curse magic. She asks, so you use poison? He replies, exactly. Highly advanced poisons. Poisons that can be formulated using special techniques from the Assassin's Guild and leave no trace. The tragedy of the Black Dragon Knights happened, and we declared ourselves the killers of the 5 knights to prove the strength of our curses. She asks him, what is your ultimate goal? He replies, we will use the Duke to establish a major role for us in the country. She asks, and you assassinate everyone who stands in your way? He says, yes. And in the end, we will take over the country. He asks her, where are your allies? She replies, aside from Eve and the girl, there's only me. He says, it's hard to believe you plan to face us alone. She removes the mask and says, I'm the one who survived facing the 5 knights. He says, I didn't expect the masked swordswoman to be Sira's Ashrain, but now everything makes sense. He asks her, are you the one who killed the 5 knights? She replies, what if I am? He says, impossible. She asks, why? He says, I don't think you could defeat the strongest person in humanity. Then he summons someone and tells her, this man was the last opponent of the Tiger Woman. His name is Bilgar, and he's the elder brother of Faragan. These 2 are the strongest brothers in Ashant, and they had a younger brother named Zerash. He was the Faung that was hunting you. He asks her, what will you do, Cirrus? My followers have already surrounded you, and we were just bait. Concealment and sneaking up on the target is an art that assassins master. This is your end, so kneel where you stand. Cirrus kneels. Meanwhile, Tuka completes his fusion with Baijimaru, extends his tendrils, and paralyzes them all. He enters and tells Mawaji, I don't think you expected me to attack from this distance. Mawaji asks, where are our men? Tuka replies, you mean the 15 men who were hiding? I killed them all while you were talking. He poisons them and tells Mawaji, you were smart enough to notice that Eve was up to something. So I knew you would notice the broken branch and avoid entering the forest. That's why I asked Cirrus to act as if she were luring you into the forest, making you feel in control and confident in your decision. And that clouded your thinking. They return to Eve and Liz and find that the first wave has come back. Tuka tells Baijimaru, come on, let's fuse again. Baijimaru is exhausted and unable to. Eve tells him, let me help you. He asks her, can you determine the exact number of soldiers? She replies, yes. She steps in front of the soldiers as bait, and when they charge at her, Tuka paralyzes and poisons them. The Duke appears behind them and says, there's no place to run. Tuka uses his paralysis technique, but then he hears the game's voice saying, you've reached the maximum number of targets. He is surprised to learn that the technique has a limited number of uses. He then uses the darkness technique to blind them, and Eve kills those who are blinded. The Duke becomes enraged and kills one of his own soldiers. Eve tells Tuka, even though I'm a warrior, I had started thinking I was done with battles. But now, fighting alongside you makes me feel happy. She rushes toward the soldiers surrounding the Duke and kills them. The Duke tells them, I will never forget what happened here, and I won't forgive you. I will destroy you soon. Tuka paralyzes him and says, are you stupid? You think we're just going to let you walk away? Eve tells him, if you had only tried to deceive me, I would have forgiven you. But you also tried to target the little girl. She beheads him, and Tuka tells Cirrus, take Liz and get ready. He uses his ice skill on the corpses, turning them into solid objects he can shatter. Eve asks him why he's doing this, and he replies, this group claimed they killed the 5 knights. So I plan to frame them for the Duke and his army's murder by making their bodies disappear while leaving only the Duke's and his army's corpses. Then, the king is shocked and says, Ashant has disappeared. He responds, all that remains are the Duke's and his private army's corpses. The king then says, that means my plan to turn them into pawns has failed. Besides, how will I explain this to the leader? Search for them and bring them back. At the same time, Tuka and the others are resting in a cave. He tells Ceres, my aunt and uncle are the only reason I want to return to my world. As for Liz, she's like me. We were both in terrible environments and treated horribly. The main difference is our aggression. I will destroy anyone who threatens me. I'm here for revenge, not to save the world. I'm a bad person. If you want to walk away from this journey of revenge, you can leave anytime because this is all about vengeance. She replies, I have my own reasons, so I'm not leaving. He tells her, then, I owe you a reward. I'll grant you one request, whatever it is, as long as I can do it. Think about it. Meanwhile, Sugo is training with Nianten. Nianten tells her, you're skilled and will excel in the next stage, but remember our promise. Sugo replies, I promise I won't tell anyone about our training. Nianten says, it will be hard to get Vishi's approval if you do. Anyway, you're going to become stronger, Sugo. Sugo asks, why did you agree to help me? Nianten answers, you remind me of my little sister. In this world, the strong prey on the weak. If you show any weakness, you'll quickly fall victim to conspiracies and violence. Remember that. The next day, Ceres asks Tuka, shouldn't we think of a name for our mercenary group? We'll need to introduce ourselves when we cross to the other side of the Beast Lands. She then says, I have a suggestion. What do you think of Soldiers of the Fly King? That was the name of the army led by the Fly King. Eve and Liz both agree, and Tuka says, then, we'll go with it. At sunset, they arrive at the Beast Lands, and Tuka notices a massive tree. Eve tells him, that's a corrupted tree. It was once a great tree. She then says, place some magic in my hand. He does, and a map appears. She tells them, the green dot is our current location, and the red dot is the sorceress. That night, Tuka stands alone, thinking to himself, my hatred isn't fading. I'm sure time will erase it and fix everything, but my thirst for revenge against that cursed leader isn't decreasing. I may be the foolish Tuka memory, but I will torment Visis. The Beast Lands are dangerous for us, but they're full of experience points. I may never reach the level of S-rank or A-rank heroes, but I can narrow the gap. I'll wipe out everything in the Beast Lands and turn them into experience points. At the same time, the leader tells the heroes, you've significantly raised your levels, and I'm grateful for your efforts so far. But leveling up only increases your basic stats. You still need combat skills and technique, so I've summoned famous figures from each country to train you. We've also confirmed that the Great Demon Empire's forces are making a major move. Our next battle against their army will be far beyond our expectations, and all of you will participate in this war. Afterward, Visis tells Nianten, we must ensure all the heroes keep leveling up while learning how to fight. Soon, I plan to send them to the Golden Beast lands. At the same time, Tuka and the others encounter a monster in the forest resembling the crawling beasts he fought in the ruins of Disposal, but its head looks like seaweed. Eve distracts the monster while Tuka paralyzes it and poisons it. She asks him, "Did you achieve what you wanted?" He replies, "Yes, we've completed the first stage. I wasn't sure if my skill would work on creatures from the beast lands, but it's weaker compared to the monsters I fought before. It seems the monsters here aren't as I expected." He then approaches the creature and takes something from it. Sarah asks, "What are you doing?" He replies, "I think I saw it in the Book of Forbidden Arts. This seaweed-like thing appears to be a component for a forbidden tool." She says, "Like the voice-changing stone in our masks?" He replies, "Yes. It's time to invade the beast lands." On their way, they reach a river. Tuka and Eve cross first, and Eve asks him, "Shouldn't we help her?" He responds, "She wants to do it herself, so we should respect her wish." She asks, "What if she falls?" And just then, she slips, but Baijimaru catches her. Eve says, "You planned for this from the start, didn't you?" He replies, "Honestly, I want to support Liz when she decides to do something because I was in a similar situation at her age." Then, Eve senses something approaching. Tuka asks, "Do you know them?" She replies, "Yes, and I'm sorry, but I can't defeat them." He tells her, "Step back," and hides behind a tree. Two massive monsters appear, and he waits for them to get closer before paralyzing them. He then uses the frenzy technique to make them crush themselves to death. His level finally increases, and he exclaims, "Finally!" Since his level hadn't risen despite killing many monsters, he takes a part from one of the creatures, and Eve asks, "Don't tell me you're going to eat them." Sarah reassures her, "Don't worry, this is a forbidden art. From what I remember, this is one of the components for enhancing jelly, like Baijimaru." Tuka senses something around them and asks Eve, "Did you feel something?" She replies, "It was definitely a monster, but it was fast." Sarah adds, "The spirits aren't responding, but something is definitely here." Baijimaru points at his bag, and when Tuka opens it, he finds the egg glowing. It hatches, revealing a horse, and they notice it has grown right after hatching. The horse approaches Tuka, and they find an absorption organ for magic. Tuka pours magic into it, turning it black and increasing its size. He notices it wants more magic, so he continues, making it grow even bigger with 8 legs. Tuka names it Sly. Meanwhile, the other heroes are in the beast lands. At night, massive and dangerous monsters appear. Nianton tells the sword tigers, "These monsters are extremely dangerous, so there's no way we can let the heroes fight them. I'll take on the ones in the front." They attack and kill too, but the numbers are overwhelming. Takuto steps forward, using Dragon Storm to burn them all. He says, "My unique skill is at level 4 now, so you need to change your opinion of me quickly. Witness the power of Kurihara, your future ruler." Kabato asks, "Where are Hijiri and Itsuki?" They have discovered spies and eliminated them. Itsuki says, "They sealed their fate the moment we found them." Hijiri adds, "I believe they were sent to do something to us heroes by the leader Visis." Meanwhile, Tuka stands at a high vantage point, looking at the forest. Sarah asks, "What are you looking at?" He replies, "I think I saw a strange light on the horizon, and I suspected some monsters fighting each other." She asks, "In the northeastern direction?" He thinks to himself, "I see. That's the direction of Elion, where that cursed leader is." The next morning, Sarah wakes up and doesn't find Tuka. She asks Eve about him, and Eve replies, "Tuka isn't the type to leave us in the middle of the beast lands and just walk away. You should know that." Sarah says, "Yeah," and they head out, finding him sitting in front of monster corpses. He tells them, "I sensed them while you were sleeping, so I took care of them. Now, I'm checking if they have any useful components." Eve asks, "You killed human-faced monsters alone? Am I dreaming?" Sarah answers, "No, this is just Tuka." She thinks to herself, "Because of him, we can see a ray of hope in the nightmare that is the depths of the beast lands." They continue their journey. Tuka asks Liz, "Are you okay?" She replies, "Yes." He then asks, "Is the beast land scary?" She answers, "I won't deny it's scary, but I'm fine." He tells her, "Don't say, I'd rather die here with Eve than live in Monroy." She responds, "Even if that's true, I don't feel like I'm going to die here. Sarah's told me that as long as you're here, we'll reach our destination safely." He says, "She trusts me too much." He then thinks to himself, "Eve and Liz trust me, and I have no intention of betraying that trust." They arrive at a passageway, and Tuka tells them, "Once we pass through here, we'll be close to the sorceress." Suddenly, a monster appears out of nowhere above Eve, and she slashes it with her sword. He asks, "Is it still alive?" "I don't think it died." She replies, "It's not moving." As a precaution, he uses paralysis, but he still feels uneasy. Suddenly, the monster glows and emits a signal into the sky, letting out a strange scream. Tuka senses a swarm of monsters approaching, and at the same time, the other heroes notice what just happened. Tuka thinks to himself, "I see. This is the monster's home," and that sound was a death knell to summon a massive herd. A herd so large that even those living in this savage land would fear it. "We still have time before they arrive." Eve then tells them, "I'll be the bait and lure them while you all use the time to reach the sorceress." Liz tries to stop her, but Eve says, My recklessness got us into this, so I have to handle it. As you all know, my senses are sharp, and I'm skilled at maneuvering in terrain like this. Tuka tells her, if you're that determined, I'll let you lure them, but on one condition. You must promise us that you'll return alive. She replies, I promise you. He tells her, do you think I'll agree so easily? Your chances of survival are slim. First, you don't have to feel responsible. The monster I killed stayed hidden until it got close and appeared without warning, and sensing it before that happens is a tough challenge. Saras tells her, if I were in your place, I'd do the same thing. Tuka adds, I should have used my state disruption skill at the time, so I'm also responsible for this. There's no reason for you to bear this alone. Your presence is necessary to guide us to the sorceress. I have the highest survival chance in our current situation, so I'll go with Baijimaru and Sly. And I decide who takes responsibility in our group, so if I say don't worry, then don't worry. That's an order. She tells him, forgive me. He replies, but I do like your strong sense of duty. He then tells Saras, I'll leave the rest to you until I return. Meanwhile, the other heroes are fleeing, with Oyamada and Takuto killing the monsters in their path. Kabato saves Kanai from an attacking monster, but the creature knocks her to the ground. Kanai then betrays her, running away and leaving her behind. At the same time, Saras and the others hide in a cave. Tuka pours his magic into Sly, making it grow massive, then infuses his magic into a sound-amplifying device and tells Baijimaru to roar into it. Sly dashes forward at full speed, drawing the monsters away as they give chase. Meanwhile, Sugo finds the corpses of Hiroka and Sakuma, feeling deep sorrow. She asks Yasu, Kano was part of your group, right? You weren't with them? He replies, we must prioritize the safety of high-ranking heroes like me. We can't afford to let the best talent be harmed. Clearly, it was their fault for being too slow to escape. She is shocked and asks, you didn't do anything when the monsters appeared? He asks, what do you mean? She tells him, you're an A-rank hero. Don't you feel responsible for protecting your group members? The students under your command rely on you, so you must protect them. You were the only one who could have saved them. He gets angry and shouts, shut up. Why are you acting like you're so much better than me? Where's your sense of hierarchy? Face reality. You're always like this, Sugo. You're oblivious most of the time. She replies, I was just telling you that you should have protected them. He responds, it's not my problem. I survived because I'm strong. They died because they were weak. It's that simple. She tells him, the strong are responsible for protecting the weak. He snaps, you talk as if you're strong. You always act like you're superior, constantly boasting about the difference between us. Hiroka and Sakuma deserved to die. They were the first to mock the weak memory. They always ridiculed me behind my back. People reap what they sow. Takuto tells him, you're a nobody. Your reaction is exactly like that of a nobody. You're far beneath me. He draws his sword and presses it against Yasu's neck, telling him, you proved you're a nobody when you forgot your weak behavior and yelled at Sugo. There's no excuse for nobodies like you. Having power beyond your rank will only bring you disgrace. Yasu charges his energy, and Takuto tells him, you're just proving even more that you're a nobody, Yasu. Yasu replies, don't get the wrong idea just because you're S-rank. You're the one who doesn't understand, Takuto. There's still a hero who hasn't learned a single unique skill despite being S-rank, and Ayaka is proof of that. And then there's a Seijai who learned a unique skill stronger than Oyamada, even though she's only B rank while he's also B rank. Meaning, our hero ranks aren't everything. Assuming you're above us just because you're S rank makes you the real nobody who misunderstood. In the end, I'll show you which of us truly belongs in the royal class. You're the nobody. He then walks away, and Takuto tells Sugo he admitted he's a burden. We're the real S-rank heroes, so you should understand your place. At the same time, Eve tells Saras, I'm going after Tuka. Saras asks, tell me your reason. Eve replies, there are too many monsters, and even with his state disruption skills, he can't handle them alone. More importantly, Tuka hasn't been in his best condition since we arrived in the Beast Lands. He's been the one who slept the least among us, and I suspect he's been using his sleep skill on us repeatedly. Saras says, Tuka has been sacrificing his own rest since we entered this land to keep our spirits up. Eve replies, thanks to him, we made it this far. And I wasn't exaggerating before we split up. Concealing my presence and maneuvering in terrain like this is my greatest strength. I also have night vision when darkness falls, so I don't need to worry about light revealing my position, and my hearing is sharp. Saras tells her, it's clear you're not just saying this to make me feel better. Sorry, but with Tuka gone, I feel responsible for everyone's safety. That's why I tested you this way. Eve then asks her, you love him, don't you? Saras replies, yes, because he saved me. Promise me you'll come back alive. Eve tells her, of course, and please take care of Liz. Eve then sets off. Meanwhile, Tuka extends Baijimaru's tendrils and uses the frenzy technique to make the monsters attack each other. He then uses paralysis to slow them down and checks his status, thinking, merging with Baijimaru is essential, but I can't maintain it for more than 10 minutes with this mana consumption. I have to raise my level to endure longer. The human-faced monsters provide massive experience points, and as long as I keep killing them and leveling up. No, this is reckless. Besides, if I'm too far, I won't gain experience when they die. I have to return now. He turns Sly around and heads back. Tuka then uses his darkness technique to blind the monsters and slip past them. His mana is nearly depleted, but he reaches the first paralyzed monsters and activates Frenzy, killing them and raising his level. His mana is restored, allowing him to keep fighting. He expands by Jimaru's tendrils and continues using Paralysis and Frenzy. Then, he notices two massive monsters chasing him. He thinks, state disruption skills require me to keep them in my line of sight to affect them. He keeps luring them, then jumps off Sly, attacking from behind and using Paralysis and Frenzy, killing them and leveling up. He pushes himself to the limit, fighting off the monsters surrounding him. Suddenly, a creature crashes into Sly, knocking Tuka off its back. He struggles to resist as monsters attack him from all directions. Meanwhile, Kabato sits in the forest, terrified, thinking, I know I'm not like Sugo. All I could do was hide and watch when they did that to Memory. I wanted to take care of everyone in tough times like Sugo, but I'm scared. Eve emerges from the trees and asks, why is there a human in a place like this? She then notices a resemblance to Liz and approaches her. Suddenly, Itsuki appears and attacks with lightning, but Eve remains unaffected. Itsuki increases her power and strikes again, causing Eve to lose her ability to speak. Itsuki attacks Eve again, thinking to herself, this thing is still able to move after taking 2 of my hits. Meanwhile, Eve thinks, her accuracy improves with every strike. Itsuki spots an opening and is about to attack, but Hijiri stops her and says, this isn't a monster. Its behavior isn't like the ones we've fought so far. What sets it apart from monsters is its intelligence, the will in its eyes, and its actions. They seem human to me. Itsuki asks, what do you mean? Hijiri replies, I mean, we could have talked to it peacefully. Itsuki responds, I don't think it knows how to speak. Hijiri tells her, that's because you blocked its voice with your attack. Itsuki is surprised. Hijiri then turns to Eve and says, first, I apologize for what happened. My sister tends to act rashly and prioritized my orders, rushing in recklessly. Itsuki also apologizes. Hijiri then asks Eve, it seems you still can't speak. Can you communicate through gestures? She then asks, do you hold any hostility toward the 3 of us? Eve responds, no. Hijiri asks, do you have any problem with us parting ways? Eve again answers, no, and she sheaths her sword. Hijiri then says, you're Eve Speed, aren't you? I've heard about you. You're not alone, right? Eve regains her voice and replies, yes, I'm searching for my commander. Hijiri tells her, if you're determined to find him, then that means you expect him to be surviving the monster assault right now, correct? Eve responds, you're smart, but you can't measure my commander with such a simple standard. She then leaves. Meanwhile, Tuka is still struggling to hold out when a massive mammoth-like monster appears. He puts it to sleep and poisons it. Jimaru grows exhausted and Tuka tells him to rest. He removes his helmet and sees blood dripping from his mouth, realizing it's due to the fall from Sliceback. He checks his status and says to himself, I've reached level 200, but my wounds and energy aren't recovering, and I'm starting to feel weak. There's probably only one monster left, and I can't hit it unless I see it. He mounts Sly, and when the monster appears, Tuka flees, waiting for the right moment to attack. However, the creature fires a beam at him, striking his shoulder and wounding Sly as well. Tuka tells Jimaru, I have one last request for you. The monster waits for the smoke to clear and spots Tuka's helmet, immediately firing at it, only to realize that Tuka isn't there. Suddenly, Tuka appears from above, paralyzes it, and uses Frenzy to finish it off, saying, I used the helmet as bait and tricked you. Tuka falls to his knees and checks his status, finding his health points nearly depleted. As the monster dies, his level rises, and he hears the system announce, advanced skill unlocked. He tries to get up and return to the group but is unable to move. Suddenly, a wolf appears and lunges at him, but Eve arrives just in time to save him. He tells her, I had a feeling this would happen. She carries him, Jimaru, and Sly. On the way, she says, I met Hijiri, Itsuki, and a girl named Kabato. He asks, did they mention my name? She replies, no, and I don't know your relationship with them. He says, good, it's best if Tuka Memory remains dead to them. They reunite with Sarah's and the others. That night, Eve takes watch while Sarah's tends to Tuka's wounds. The next day, they continue their journey and encounter a massive rock-like monster moving. Tuka paralyzes it and says, this is probably a golem meant to welcome intruders. Eve asks, are you going to destroy it? He replies, no, I don't want to act recklessly and make the sorceress think we're hostile. They reach the sorceress's dwelling and find small golems working without attacking them. They proceed forward until they arrive at the entrance. Tuka notices a magic-absorbing device and says, she didn't even bother hiding it because she knows it requires an immense amount of magic. But I'm confident in the magic I have. He pours his magic into it, opening the door. Inside, they find an incredibly beautiful sight and come face to face with the forbidden sorceress. Meanwhile, the leader tells her subordinate, send messages to the 4 Great Ones. The Great Demon Empire has moved, and the heroes must be summoned immediately. At the same time, the sorceress introduces herself, saying, "I am Erika a Norophile. Indeed, I am the one you call the forbidden sorceress." Tuka, excited, thinks to himself, "Wait for me, you cursed leader. I will destroy everything you own."